Mark, we're going to start this week's episode with a Would You Rather.
Be dangerous.
Ooh, I like Would You Rathers.
Yeah, so would you rather never have sex again?
This is not a test.
Or would you rather
This is your
only have
emergency
sex
broadcast
when a
system.
tarantula is crawling across your arse cheeks?
Anybody home? Hey, think.
You know, that's not a
Do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth?
Ever again.
Really?
Dude, I found a dildo.
100% there, yeah.
Price is wrong.
You that
That's
scared?
spider shit.
The question is it horror? Or is it not horror?
I am serious. And don't call me Sterling.
I am
Or
not
forget.
Mr. LeBron.
You want to die tonight?
The cheaper, nastier, the better for me.
Would you have stayed after this?
Sorry, man, I was completely off guard there.
He's in his coffin. He's the undead.
This was the best bit of the film.
This is not the last time someone's going to steal your man.
Yeah, Mark's not a nice guy.
I just didn't notice this scene. It looks like he's got an extra leg.
Yeah, I've got nothing. I've literally got nothing here. Surely that's even worse. The more listeners we have, the worse that's going to be.
Yeah, but I will just get a new phone.
Oh, I tell a lie, actually, yeah, because we used to have teletext.
Art the Clown makes Michael Myers and Jason Voorhees look like pussies.
I can only assume that this was due to budgetary reasons and they couldn't afford enough extras.
Are you going to have Buster Rhymes in your list of characters?
Mate, I can't believe you don't know Idle Hands.
I'm going to ram my foot down his fucking throat. It was awesome.
It fucking wasn't awesome!
Hello, welcome to the You Run podcast horror movie review flavour of the week. My name is Scott.
My name is Mark.
And we are your loving hosts, and each and every week we bring you reviews of movies that you've selected or new releases, because we know you want those covered too. You don't want us to skip over them. And I don't bother polling them, because if I poll a new release against loads of movies from the 80s and 90s, the new release is going to win. So I'm not wasting my time or yours. It's completely running. This show's completely running. I don't know. It's going to be one. It's going to be one of those episodes.
It is, yeah.
This show is completely run and controlled by you. You could do that in many ways, and it's all done through our social media. We're at You Run Podcast on TikTok, Twitter, and the Instagram itself. We have a fabulous episode teed up and a whole hell of a lot going on. So let's just jump straight in. Mark, who are we following this week?
Recommended account of the week.
So this week's recommended account is Don't Say Chainsaw. His bio says his name is Mark Sawyer, and this guy claims to have the largest collection of Texas Chainsaw Massacre memorabilia. And judging by some of the stuff he's posting on his Instagram, I don't find that very hard to believe either. He has got some outstanding stuff. Probably every single variation of VHS, DVD, soundtrack score, poster, mask, you name it, this guy owns everything, literally everything, like prop replicas, chainsaws, signed by cast and production crews, and this guy literally has scoured the planet and claimed everything. I would love to know how he has funded this collection, because it is remarkable. It really, really is.
I think the term is he's got $30,000 of credit card debt.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I would sleep easy with that amount of credit card debt, knowing that I owned all of this stuff. It's really, really cool. Really, really cool. I could only dream to have a collection like this. So go check it out. Show him some love. It's very, very insightful. And if you are one of those people who likes to collect things like I am, but know your limits and know when to stop, here is just an insight of somebody who doesn't know when to stop. So go and have a look.
Or has the funds that they don't have to stop.
Or has the funds that they don't have to stop, yeah. So his name is Don't Say Chainsaw, and you can find him on Instagram. I imagine he is elsewhere, but yeah, that is his main handle. And it's always, if you go there and you like his stuff, please comment on it and let him know that the You Run Podcast sent you there.
Yeah, and you don't need to tell people that it's on Instagram now, because we all know you're too lazy to go to Twitter and TikTok to find other accounts to recommend.
I don't do other socials. I tried I on. I don't think I did I? I said I was going to, but then never bothered.
Yeah, you half tried. I think you
I had the
recommended.
intention to try and then didn't.
Yeah. Well done, you.
Cheers.
It's been a long while since we've had a guest on the show. In fact, the last time we had guests, we had Heather and Elise for Jack Frost 2. which, to be fair, is probably why we've had a break from guests, because I don't know if I've emotionally recovered from editing that. We are joined by a guest today, our first guest of 2023. And it is someone who I've been on their show. I was honoured to go on their show and do what I'd done for their show. They are, I don't know the best way to describe our guest. Pure horror love wrapped in a something that has no filter. Just horror love just oozes out of everything this man says. He's the creator of the Let's Talk Horror channel. It's Mr. PP himself. Welcome to the show.
What's up? You all right?
Yeah, good. You?
I'm living the dream. Thanks for having me on. I feel like royalty, like honoured for such a beautiful intro. But also, I thought it was going to be like, I don't know how to, say who this person is other than a big twat. But
that's usually how he talks about me.
So it's a lot nicer than what I thought. So thank you for that. But yeah, I feel like royalty being the first guest of 2023. So thank you for having me on.
Yeah, no, I'm thrilled to have you here, especially for today's episode, because today's episode is, it's out there. But before we talk about that, I want to talk a little bit about your show. So you've got Let's Talk Horror channel, you've got a podcast, you've got YouTube, you do deep dives into movies with guests and solo episodes on your own as well, which I admire because I can't do them anymore. I tried one a little while ago, and on my own I was like, so that's the movie.
When I pulled a sickie.
Yeah, so you pulled a sickie, yeah. Your show is great. And how did it come about?
It all started during the first lockdown, because obviously, like everyone, I went fucking mental. And, I've always considered myself a really creative person, and I was really, really struggling. Anybody that's listened to sort of the show or anything like that, I talk a lot, and it is obviously fed into the show itself. But acting and filmmaking is what I always wanted and will always want to do with my life. And during lockdown, I couldn't do anything. I couldn't go out and plan stuff. You just couldn't do anything. You felt like you were a prisoner. So I was stuck and I didn't know what to do. So I ended up speaking to a friend, and he was just like, well, why don't you just do a podcast? Because, ultimately the accessibility is there for everyone to do a podcast, which is what's fucking amazing about technology. And I was just like, well, what the fuck do I do a podcasting about? And he was just like, well, all you do is talk about horror movies. So why don't you just do a podcast about horror films? And I was just like, oh, okay. And obviously I was nervous to start with because I don't know anything about technology, because I'm properly shit and I'm old. So I don't know.
Me too.
I don't know what the fuck I'm doing with it. So yeah, I started it. And everything, it was always meant to just be a conversation, an expression of my love and my honest thoughts and my passion for this genre. I've been watching it my whole life, and it has fed so much into me as who I am as a person and what I put out there, but also it fed a lot into my, desire to be an actor and a filmmaking, because for me, horror is the definition of the greatest elements of every aspect of that. When you look at the acting, there's no better performances than what there is in horror. If you look at the directing, there's no better directing or filmmaking or cinematography than horror. So it's had a huge impact on my life. So I started a podcast, and I've been going ever since.
Yeah, and it grew arms and legs and now become something else. And now it's like every time I see your channel, it's always someone sharing, going, I fucking love this show. I love this show. And it's well deserved, because I love your show. It's fucking entertaining. Really
good,
entertaining.
Thank you. It is a worry. I'm one of those people that in my mind, I'm always telling myself everything I do is shit. So when I do an episode, it is such a stressful time for me to bring it out. And when I get the feedback that I do from yourself and amazing, the amazing horror community that we know that they are, and this sort of community that I've built up under the sort of Let's Talk Horror, I couldn't feel more blessed.
Yeah. And it's one of those things that any podcaster knows, that horrible moment when you release an episode and then you look 12 hours later and you go, how many listens have I got? Oh, shit. Oh, shit. And I've reached a point now where I try not to look. I try and wait and don't look for ages, because if I look like straight away, I'm like, oh, dear. It's all gone wrong. It's all gone wrong.
It's difficult, isn't it? Because, like, as you know, podcasters, one of the biggest things anyone will always say to you, and this is like advice to everyone that does the podcasting, is they always say, don't check the numbers. You know, the numbers don't mean anything. Just do what you enjoy and keep doing it as long as you're having fun doing it. Yeah. But ultimately, you still don't want to make a show as much as you love it that no one listens to. So, it is just about working hard, enjoying what you do, and seeing what else you can do to evolve your show all the time. And you're a prime example of that, because you've got at least 1 billion shows.
Yeah.
And you do all of them very, very well, and I've got one of them, and
and you do that very, very well.
I try.
For today's episode, you wonderful listeners have picked Wes Craven's classic, not A Nightmare on Elm Street, not The Hills Have Eyes. No, it's not Scream either. You went with the 1991 classic, The People Under the Stairs.
In every neighborhood, there is one house that adults whisper about and children cross the street to avoid. Now, Wes Craven, creator of A Nightmare on Elm Street, takes you inside.
Something's in there.
We gotta get out of here, Leroy.
All sorts of rumors about what goes on in that house. The police never took it serious.
She's been feeding that thing between the walls again.
Very, very tense about this.
What goes on in this house is a sin. But what goes on under the stairs is a nightmare. Wes Craven's The People Under the Stairs.
As always, the listeners get first dibs on giving a score. Any guesses what they scored this, you two?
I'm going to say fair to middling. So I'm going to go, judging by the crazy results we've had recently, I'm going to say a 6, and that's 6. Generous, I think.
What do you think, BP? Where have they scored?
Well, was there an option of I've never seen it before, or
no? It's literally score 1 to 10. What do you think?
I don't know. I reckon maybe a 7.
Yeah, you're right on the money. They scored it a 7 out of 10. We had the most ranging scores we've ever had. We had people scoring this a 10, and then people touching the slider, so it just moved, not even to 1.
Wow.
There was no in between. It's like they were either top of the scale or bottom. You will all get mine marks and BP scores at the end of the review. So stick around for that, and we're going to get into the movie. We start with some tarot cards, and we see a character called Fool. We see the Fool card and hear someone saying, "This is how you got your nickname." The voice continues to say that Fool needs to learn to walk in the sun, where the child part could be burnt away, leaving only the man left. We now pan back, seeing this Fool's card sat on a shelf. And I really like this transition, that is the tarot reading, and then it has jumped forward in time, and you pan back and it sat on the little kid's shelf. I thought that was really neat. Really,
it was subtle, wasn't it? And it was cool, though.
Yeah, I really liked that. We now see Fool, the character Fool, sat on his bed, and he's reading a book. He can hear his sister tending to his sick mum. And this is where it becomes apparent that it was his sister who done the card reading for him. And I think it was more she was preparing him for what's to come, that he needs to become a man because shit's about to get very, very real at home. He goes to check on his mum, but his sister Ruby sends him away. And this is when he notices a very strange man sat in his living room called Leroy, who's Ruby's friend. Also, Ving Rhames. Ving Rhames is a fucking boss. I love this guy.
Yeah, he's the same in everything, isn't he?
Yeah.
He is so one-dimensional as a character and as an actor.
Yeah, he's just plays that legitimate cool guy that can fucking either sit there and do that or be in Mission Impossible, getting rid of bombs.
Yeah. Whether he be a gangster, a crook, a police officer, a security guard, or a flying out of helicopters with Tom Cruise, he is the same guy in everything. And there's nothing wrong with that if you do it as well as he does it. I'm just saying he is the same.
When you're cool as fuck, it don't matter, does it?
No, exactly that. This is where he tells Fool that they're being evicted. He says he's a friend of Ruby's. They're being evicted because they're 3 days late with the rent. And there's a clause in the contract that if they're 3 days late, they have to pay 3 times the rent or get the fuck out. He then tells Fool, don't worry, though, because I've got a plan where you can earn some money to help.
Yeah.
Instantly, I decided he's going to get Fool to sell drugs.
Hi, I'm Ving Rhames. I'm a full-grown man.
Yeah,
and I want to enlist the child.
Instantly.
I thought he was. Yeah, I thought he was going to make him do drug pushing and stuff.
Yeah, 100%. I thought he was going to be running heroin up and down staircases for the next month.
And you say, by the way, you mentioned about you're 3 days late on your rent. Who actually pays to live in this building? By the way, you would have to pay me to stay there.
I've stayed in worse. I've lived in worse.
Don't know if you possibly could have done, mate. Have you seen this crack house?
Yeah,
I don't know. I've stayed in some shit hotels in London, I tell you.
Yeah, I've had a couple of shared houses when I first left home that weren't too dissimilar to this place.
I mean, to be fair, when we went to the Love of Horror, there was no electricity in your.
Exactly that. Yeah, it wasn't. We did not stay in the Ritz when we went for the Love of Horror.
No, but we didn't have people selling crack in the corridor downstairs.
I reckon if you'd have gone down and asked nicely, someone would have been.
This is very true. Yeah.
Very, very true. We get our first glimpse of the landlords. They're quite posh looking. They're discussing Fool's family being kicked out of the building, and she's like, "Oh, it's really good because we'll get to build a condo and get some nice people in there and make lots of money." We get Wes Craven's stereotypical nasty arsehole parents that he likes to place in every single movie he does. As there's a girl there who's obviously we believe to be their daughter, and she goes, "What will happen to them when they've been evicted?" And the mum snaps back, "I didn't think I was speaking to you." And she puts her head down and walks away. I was like, "Oh, that's just brutal."
Just absolute motherfuckers.
She's such a good actress as well. Such a good actress. The God who plays mother. I think she's just I think she's credited as woman in this. I don't think she has a name. I think both.
Yeah, she's credited as woman, and he's credited
as man.
Daddy.
Oh, is he credited as daddy? I thought he was credited as man.
Daddy.
But she's fantastic. The woman, really, really, really solid. And these are both two actors who play a married couple in Twin Peaks, the TV show.
Yeah.
It was such a jarring experience for me because I've never seen this film before, and I love Twin Peaks. So seeing them play the characters they play here and in the roles they play as well, because you see actors and actresses in various different films playing different characters and different things, but because they were a married couple in that and they're a married couple in this, it was hard to distinguish between the two, if that makes sense.
Yeah, in Twin Peaks, isn't she as batshit crazy as she is in this, though?
She is, yeah. She's weirdly housebound. But he's such a calm and collected guy throughout that whole series.
He's fucking not in this.
No, he's certainly not in this. He's about one more facial expression away from being Jim Carrey at certain scenes.
Very much so.
He's gurning his face off.
He's a brilliant actor. I love his portrayal in this. I forgot how dark this movie was. We'll get there, but I forgot. When I watched this time, I was like, this is really dark. Wes Craven went to some really dark places and then kind of got there and went, oh, I better dial this back a little bit. And he does that so many times in this. He reaches a point and you go, I don't want it to go there. And I think Wes Craven knows and goes, yeah, that's fine. I won't take it there. I don't want it there either.
Yeah, which is weird, though. But that's what throws the turn off for me. It's a very, very jarring film. You have those moments of depravity and and pure horror and tension for you to immediately snap out of it like somebody's had the thought, ooh, that's a little bit dark, we better step back. And then they interject a joke or something really silly and off tone. And it's like
what they interject is a dog chasing people through the walls every time.
Yeah. Or a random gimp suit. And it's just like I just don't get the it's like they wanted to do something but only half committed to it.
We'll get to it in facts because there is a big lot of facts about how Wes Craven wanted to commit more to this.
Yeah, it feels like it was a half effort, or there was a lot of interference where there was like, we're going to do this, and then they do it and they film it, and it was like, ooh, that's a bit much. Maybe we should just throw something funny in the next scene, and then they do, and then you're like, oh, I've immediately been taken out of that moment.
We jump to the next day and we get to see Fool's neighborhood. Now, I thought he was on his way to see Leroy at Leroy's house. And it wasn't until he walks into the kitchen that I realised that's actually his house. It's his apartment. So he goes up through this apartment complex and they're the last family in there, but everyone's still living in there. And it's like a crack den.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're literally zombies trying to claw at him as he's going up the stairs for cash and money out of his pocket and stuff.
Yeah, and he gets in the room and he's in there and Leroy's there. And I don't know, it's just such a horrible little vibe to that building. And then he walks in and his sister's like, you all right? And Leroy's like, right, I got a plan. And I was like, okay, well, this is where he gets him to go and sell drugs to everyone else out on the stairs. And he's like, we're going to go rob the landlords. What do you mean you go rob the landlords? And his sister gets a bit defensive. And she's like, no, you can't do that. I've heard about these people. They're bad people. And Leroy shows his true colours for the first time and he gets a bit handsy with his sister.
Yeah.
Fool is an absolute star because he takes none of it and just gets over and just boots him in the leg.
Yeah. I mean, for people who don't know, I mean, this is the kid that should have been like a massive star in the 90s. So he was in
everywhere.
He was in like the Sandlot Kids, which is what I watched like when I was growing up all the time. He was in Mighty Ducks. And then he was also in Michael Jackson's Moonwalker, busting his moves. So
and he was in the Michael Jackson Bad video, and he was also Fresh Prince of Bel-Air for a stint, and he was everywhere.
So he could do everything.
Everywhere. Yeah.
And then he just wasn't.
What happened to him then? Because did he do the Macaulay Culkin thing and fall off on drugs, or? I
have no idea. But it's just, I mean, it'd be interesting to find out why, because when you've got that magnitude of talent.
I briefly Googled it. I don't know what he's up to now, but like the last article came up that he was dating Billie Eilish or something crazy like that. I was like, that's weird. This guy must be like 50 now.
Yeah.
How old's Billie Eilish though? She's mid-20s.
She's about 19, I think.
Oh, is she?
Yeah, she's young.
Yeah, maybe this film influenced his taste in women.
Yeah, maybe he took a certain suit that we get into offset. Maybe.
Yeah. Oh, there's an image for me. Him strutting around in that suit with Billie Eilish, going, "Yeah, that's it, Daddy."
Not too far off what he wore in the Michael Jackson Bad video, to be honest.
Yeah.
The 90s were a strange time. Anyone who didn't grow up in the 90s, you missed a lot.
Yeah, you fucking missed right out, I tell you.
This is why our generation is fucked.
Yeah. You missed out on a lot. And, we can't show you because we had no fucking camera phones, so we're completely safe.
Yeah.
Yes. Do you know what? That's such a weird thing to think about now. It's like, I have kids, you guys have kids. Like, our kids are going to grow up in an era, in a generation, like, that their whole life is just captured on film.
Yeah.
Like, we take photos of my daughter all the time, and like she's on our social media. So like for me to find a photo of myself as a baby now, I have to go raiding in like a suitcase full of like pictures that my mum and dad have had since I was a kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, my daughter at the age of like 15 will literally be 2 clicks away from seeing her entire life, most probably day by day, if not week by week, as she grew up.
Yeah.
It's mind blowing.
And do you know what? I literally wouldn't change it for the world, because I like, it's nostalgia. I reminisce all the time about growing up in the 80s and the 90s, and I literally loved it. It was such a good time.
But I'm curious to know whether it's as good as we remember it being.
Yeah, it
was for me, I tell you.
Yeah, it is.
Like, I'm not disagreeing with you. I just say, like, I grew up in it, and I'm like, that was the best time ever. And I'm like, sometimes I think back and I think, is it that nostalgic, or am I just trying to cling on to something that wasn't there? But
no,
it was that awesome, wasn't it?
It was
fucking awesome.
It was that awesome. And if anyone can show me any video evidence or photograph evidence that it wasn't, I'll take it.
Yeah, I just have to dig through the old home movies.
Yeah, exactly. We get a scene of Full Now is that they're going to go and rob this family. They're going to go and rob the landlords. And what they do is they cut across town, and we see the evil landlords first. These parents are awful. So we cut across to their house, and you see them feeding a young girl. So she sat in her bedroom on a table all on her own, and she's got a plate there, and the mum opens the door and goes, "Did you lick that plate?" And I was like, "Oh, why are you being so horrible?" And the girl's like, "No." And then the mum makes her stand up, and I was like, "Oh no, she's going to like fat shame her. What's she doing? Why is she being?"
I thought she was going to like whip her or belt her or something.
Yeah,
like that.
It was really like nasty vibes. And then she's like, "Put on this dress I made for you," which you see her making in the opening scene. And then she starts brushing her hair. And then she's like, "Tell me you love me." I was like, "Oh, you need to stop." It's just such a horrible vibe. I hate it.
Yeah, when it comes to horror films and stuff like that, like, I always find situations of imprisonment like this, like, the most unbearable to watch.
Yeah.
For me. Like, you can show me somebody getting their forehead cut open with a chainsaw, and I wouldn't look away from the screen. But stuff like this is really, really uncomfortable for me.
Yeah. It's just, it's just kids. Don't be horrible to fucking kids or dogs, as we know in this film as well. But, don't be fucking horrible to kids.
Yeah.
I just don't even think it's a case of it being a child anyway. I don't think it's an age thing for me either. I think it's just that involuntary imprisonment kind of thing that I don't like, where they've been. It's not even a case of like if she was kicking and screaming and fighting her way out. It's like it's because she's been so brainwashed into the situation that she's almost accepting and comfortable with it. That makes me feel so uncomfortable, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and this is one of the prime examples of where they changed the tone. So the mum gets up and leaves, and she takes her plate. She goes, "You're missing a fork. Do you know what the punishment is for losing silverware?" And I was like, "Oh, fuck, where's it going?" And the girl goes, No, it's fine. I dropped it. And then a greyish hand reaches out of a vent and hands her the fork. The first time watch, I was like, what the fuck is going on? And then she hands the fork to her mum. She's like, it's there. And then the dad comes in.
I'll be honest with you. When that hand came through, I feel like that was a bit of a mistake on this film's part, because it then sort of lost all sense of intimidation for what was lurking around, if that makes sense. Like,
it's not scary, yeah.
Yeah, because they're showing friendliness towards Alice, I believe she's called. I think I feel like it then sort of immediately lost all that sense of intimidation of, ooh, what's there? Because you know that they have that sense of care and well-being toward Alice. So you're like, well, they're obviously not that bad.
Yeah,
it's clear that the mum and dad are then now the main antagonists.
The villains,
yeah.
So I feel like it was a bit of a failing on the film to show that early on.
The dad, who's known as Daddy throughout this movie, is a whole new level of Jeffrey Epstein, Jimmy Savile, fucking disgusting. I honestly, I can't stand this guy. Also, like, the levels of racism that he has and some of the language he uses, I just like, no. Literally the first 3 seconds of him, he hits us with a racial slur that should never be said unless your name's Snoop Dogg or Dr. Dre. And he follows that with going, he's having one of his tense headaches. To which the mum goes, well, that's fine, because Alice has been feeding that thing in the walls again. Remember not to bruise her face.
Yeah.
as she walks out, the door closes and he takes his belt off. And I was like, no, that's just...
I'm so glad they didn't show anything here as well, though, because if they had done, I don't know if I would have continued watching this film.
Yeah, I mean, straight away, I mean, it would have been one of those things where they'd be like, either you take that out or this film will not see the light of day.
Yeah, I think that's something that one of the decisions that maybe they were going, do we? Don't we? Probably we don't.
No, definitely you don't.
Definitely don't, yeah.
And I know I criticised it for not committing enough, but this was one of those films that
that's enough.
Insinuation was more than enough.
More than enough. And it is horrible. But it's fine because we jump cut to another scene. And the next scene is the tone has shifted completely. We get Leroy and his mate driving past the evil bastard's house. And Leroy's going, it's all right. We've got Fool. I've got a man on the inside. And it cuts to Fool and he's dressed like a Boy Scout. And he's like trundling up to the door. He knocks on the door to try and get in, and the letterbox opens, and he turns, and then the letterbox closes, and no one answers, so he goes round the side and tries that door. No one answers there, so he goes round the back and ends up sat by a little pond, and he gets spotted by Alice out the window. And just before he looks up and sees her, he's confronted by the mum. He is an absolute star, how hard he tries to get into this house.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm selling some cookies. And she's like, no, we're not interested. We're very careful of what we eat. And she's like, we don't care for cookies. He's gone, do you care about cerebral palsy?
Very quick-witted.
Very quick. She's like, no, not really. You need to go. And she like starts sort of almost ushering him. He's like, well, when they drop us out here, they leave us out here with no food and no water, and I really, really need the toilet. Is there any chance I could use the toilet? She's like, no, I'm sorry. She basically like, no, fuck off, go away now. I just love how persistent he is, and he's so like not phased.
Charming with it, is he? He's very, very charmingly inquisitive about trying to get into this house, the way he approaches it. And even though she's being so, no, go away, go away, go away, he's always like, just trying that extra little bit. Every single time. He's like the Artful Dodger.
Yeah.
Trying to break into this house.
And I'm not being funny. We've all got kids and we all know they do this.
Yeah, definitely.
This is negotiations that happen on a daily basis.
One thing about this scene... Sorry, go on, mate.
You say no, and it's like, well, how about if I do this and then can it happen? Well, no. But how about if I do that? We all have those chats.
Yeah, I have a 2-year-old and she is developing those skills immediately at the moment. It's insane how well she's crafting that art form.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just wanted to say about this scene in particular is how much I adore this house. It looks fantastic. I mean, it's supposed to be a funeral parlor as well. Is that correct?
Yeah, it was a funeral parlor at one point.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's not a working funeral parlor at the moment, but the all-black aesthetics of it look incredible. And the set design is so well done. Something you will get more of an insight into later on as the film progresses. But it's one thing about this thing that I think does really, really well is how impressive the set design is, because everything about this building looks fantastic. And even though we spend so much time in one particular location, it sort of feels much grander in scope due to the way that it goes in and out of certain locations throughout as we go. It's very, very well done.
It doesn't feel like you're grounded in like a couple of rooms.
No, like you would in most films that take place in a particular location. This one feels very expansive. Yeah. It is very well done. Very well done.
Yeah, and that's just a testament to how good a director Wes Craven is.
I think so. Yeah, I think so, because he frames it in a way that makes something so small. I mean, this is a fairly large house, but from what rooms we do go into, it's very clear that it's downstairs is like a kitchen, like a guest living room, dining room area, and that's about it. But it feels like there's about 10 different rooms in there, and it's not. He's just framing it from different locations and different points that makes you feel like it's a much more expansive location.
Yeah.
Very cleverly done.
Fool gets back in the van, saying that there's locks on the back door, there's locks on the windows, they got bars, they can't get in. And the other guy in the van's like, look, this is why you don't send a boy to do a man's job. I'm going to go myself. And he goes in posing as the gas man.
Yeah.
I love the fact that the mum spots him as a fraud a fucking mile away.
Just
it's
don't wear a ring like that.
Yeah, I was going to say, don't wear a big skull ring. But then again, is that not a bit judgmental? Can people not wear skull rings if you work for the gas board?
I imagine in the 90s.
And also, these people we've established they're about as judgmental and twattish as you can find anyway. So
yeah, this is very true.
So he actually gets let in because I love this bit. He's like, yeah, I'm here to read your meter. She's like, you just passed it on the driveway. And then he gives this bullshit line of, oh, yeah, but there's like a secret meter in your house that no one else knows where it is but me. So I've got to come in.
I know every inch and corner of my house. If there was a secret meter in my house, I would know about it. Yeah, and she knows she's like, yeah, okay, fine. Next thing we see is the mum's leaving. And Leroy and Fool are like, well, she's just leaving him there. And Leroy's like, no, he's in there now, stealing all the money and all the gold for himself. We need to get in there. And they smash a back panel in the window to get in. They get in the back door. They then get to the next door, which used to be like a funeral home. And as they look around trying to get in, they're attacked by a dog. This is the meanest dog ever. And I know it's bad owners. It's not the dog's fault. So I'm gonna hate on the dog, but it's not the dog's fault. I want that to be clear.
Big fucking dog.
It's a big fuck. It's a dog that's so big that I would not like this dog trying to bite me.
No.
They get through the next door and then they kind of barricade themselves in. They block the door off to stop the dog getting in. And now they're fucked because they're blocked in a house and their only means of escape is out where the dog is. Full spots a speak no evil, hear no evil, see no evil statue. And they start hearing banging in the ceiling. And Leroy's like, it's good. Even the rich people have rats. And I was like, that is not a fucking rat. The ceiling really comes through. They hear bigger bangs upstairs and Leroy's like, it's Spencer. So they go up to have a look. And Fool's like, I don't want to go up there. And he's like, well, you stay down here and keep an eye out. It takes 30 seconds for all this shit to go sideways. Fool is downstairs on his own and goes investigating his own noises. And he spots Spencer's clipboard down a flight of stairs in the basement. This kid looks at it and goes, nope. And then he goes, actually, no, I'm a man. I'm going to go down. And he goes down into the basement. As he dives in deeper, he hears a voice called and begins to search with his lighter. He's using a lighter. This bugs me because a lighter would be so hot in his hand. You can't do that.
I thought that. As soon as he lit it, I was like, oh, you've got about 20 seconds before that starts burning your fingertips.
Yeah.
And also they do this all the time in horrors and you're like, it's going to do fucking nothing. Yeah. Like it's just going to light this immediate space that you're in. It's not going to fucking, it's not like a Wi-Fi light bulb. You can change the settings anytime you fucking want on it. It's going to do nothing. It's just, you're going to see the flame in front of you and go, no, it's too fucking hot now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's not like they've taken a torch. It's not like fucking Return of the Mummy where they've gone and they're flailing around a torch. He finds a TV playing and tries to get his lighter going again when he's blasted in the face by some dust before being chased by a man in the shadows. And he finds the body of Spencer. So he there's moving and rustling and he trips over and he finds Spencer holding a single gold coin.
One thing I wanted to ask about this scene, Spencer's hair has turned completely white. Why?
I imagine it was quite scary what happened to Spencer.
Yeah, I think that's sort of one of those things where they're like, trying to set up the whole, this is going to be fucking terrifying. This is going to be like the scariest shit you've ever seen. So scary, he's now, gone full Doc Brown and got about,
But the science behind that theory, is that legit? Is that a thing? Can you be that scared that you turn your hair white?
Surely not. I mean, it happens in, everything, doesn't it? But it shouldn't.
Exactly. And that's the point about this film and its tone.
I'm Googling that for the next episode we do to find out if that is possible.
I would love to know. Make sure you do, because I would love to know if that's actually possible or not. Because the thing is like that scene immediately, again, it's all very tense. It's all very sort of spooky. He's creeping around this very limited light source and it's tense. And then we meet him and he's there on the floor like he's being scared to death, like something out of a Home Alone film. And I'm like, oh, why did you do that?
Yeah, I'm going to
undercuts the tension.
I'm going to find out if it's fact, because then that might make you look at every movie different that does that.
But even if that is factual, I'm not buying it here.
I'm sorry. I'm pretty sure that Daddy and Mum could scare the shit out of me enough to turn my hair white looking at what they do later.
I know, but I'm not buying it. I don't think it's real. I don't think it's legit.
No, I don't believe it. I believe in science, but not, if you Google it, it'd just say, have kids. And then, and then that's it.
It takes about 5 years, but it does work.
Yeah,
it sure does.
Yeah, it either goes white or it falls out. Those are your two choices. Fool's a really good kid, and he tries like half-heartedly to get Spencer's body out of there. And this is when he sees people moving around in the shadows. One of them jumps on his back, and every single time it gets me. I know it's coming, and it's like, shit. Fool throws him off and retreats up the stairs as his legs are being pulled back down. In this chaos, he also spots Alice. He gets out and immediately locks the basement. And I'm like, you're a clever kid. You've gone, fuck no, that's staying locked now. I'm not going in there again. And this is when he sees that the family have now returned. So Mum and Dad are back and they're outside with the dog. So he rushes upstairs to go and find Leroy. He finds Leroy and he's laying on the floor. And I thought Leroy was dead on a first one. And Fool's like, touches him. And Leroy jumps up. What the fuck are you doing? He's like, I thought you were dead. He's like, just because I'm laying still does not mean I'm dead.
What was his explanation for why he was laying still? Because I didn't get this bit.
He was listening. He could hear something in the vents. And this is
but
when
he couldn't hear Fool coming up behind him.
No, but he could hear something in the vents. It's fine.
I remember being a kid when I watched this, and I was convinced that, like, when he was moved, his head was just going to not be there.
I thought the same. Yeah, I thought.
But then obviously they sold out.
Yeah,
but then he just had bad hearing.
And this is where you get some of like Leroy does this a lot, where he's just so uncaring for Fool, and it's not his kid, and I kind of get it, but he's
not to this level.
He's another level. He's like, I can hear something in the vents. You're going to go in there and see what it is.
Yeah,
I love Fool because Fool's like, there is no chance in hell I'm sticking my head in there because I'm going to end up dead like Spencer. He's just like, no, I'm not doing that. Are you crazy? Fool says the family are back and Spencer's dead. And they start to leave as the family are coming back in the front door. They get to the front door and try to open it. Kevin McAllister's been in this house.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because the front doorknob is electrified. And
I just love how unfazed Leroy is by this.
Yeah,
Fool goes to grab the door. Fool grabs the door and electrocutes himself and falls to the floor. And Leroy doesn't say, "Oh shit, are you okay, man?" He immediately just ignores him and tries to open the window next to the door.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm like, dude, what are you doing? This kid is about 6 years old. Pick him up.
He's so mean to him. And this is where the family let the dog in. So they've got in the back door now, and the dog comes in. And Leroy's like, "Right, Fool, the dog's coming. You stand here in the middle of the room, and I'm going to hide. And when the dog attacks you, I'm going to whack it." And Fool's like, "Sorry, what? What are we doing now?" And this is a brilliant choice by Wes Craven. The fact the dog comes in, looks at Fool and kind of goes, "What are you doing here?" And then spots Leroy as like, "Oh, you're going to die," and just completely bypasses Fool.
It's almost as if he knew.
Yeah, he's like, "Were you made to stand there? It's fine. Where is he? Oh, he's there. I'll bite him." Leroy's being viciously attacked by the dog, and Fool sort of drags him. It's like helping him up, and he's holding his hand. He drags him all the way to the front door, where he grabs hold of the door handle, and the door handle electrifies Fool, which electrifies Leroy, which completely fucks the dog, and leaves the dog on the floor, sort of almost smoking, where he's had 240 volt put from him.
Again, I don't understand the science behind this and how this transfers, but I'm assuming the dog is like the exit point of the electric.
Yeah, I'm guessing.
I know
so.
briefly the science of electric enough to know that the dog is the exit point, which is why he's mostly affected by it.
Yeah, so it passes through, and then he's the last point of contact, so he gets all of it.
I was going to say, you're an electrician. Why am I taking point on this?
Yeah, I was just letting you run with it. Yeah, so basically the current goes through the two people. They don't get the shock, and the shock ends with the person on the end of the chain.
I feel like we should have got a scientist in for this episode.
Yeah,
I feel
just to debunk.
Like, some of the stuff we've watched and reviewed, and I don't give a shit about anything, but I'm pulling this to pieces unnecessarily.
You very much are. This is where we get Mum first called Daddy, Daddy. And as soon as she'd done it, I was like, Yeah,
it's very like, when you get your body shivers.
Yeah, and it's even worse when you find out that these two are brother and sister later on.
Yeah, that was weird.
Yeah. Really, really weird. Daddy has a gun, and he switches like this panel where all the lights go off. Leroy goes and hides in a cupboard, and again, he's an arsehole to Fool. He's like, no, this is my hiding space. There's no place. Go find your own place, Fool. And like, pushes him out of the cupboard and closes the door.
Brutal.
Yeah. We also get shutters that drop on all the windows, and the house is now in lockdown. Daddy finds Leroy pretty fucking quick because Leroy's a big guy hiding in a very small cupboard, and shoots him multiple times. We know he survives, though. He doesn't in this movie, but in my head he survives because this is the spiritual prequel to Pulp Fiction. Ving Rhames went on from this to build a criminal empire and chase down Bruce Willis.
And to be honest with you, though, man, I was really surprised that he died here.
Bold choice, because he was.
I thought he was at least going to be like one of those things where he comes in like the final act, soldiering on from his war wounds and saves the day.
And gets like some sort of redemption.
Yeah, no, that is it. He's done. He's gone. That's it. That's the end of Vic Reeves. Bye-bye, Leroy.
And I've got to say, I can't think of another movie from the 90s or even the 80s where the young kid carries the movie. You've got
Not
things
as
like
well as this, no.
You've got things like Poltergeist, where you've got Carol Ann, who's an integral part, but that's more about the whole family and her story. Yeah. Whereas this is all about Fool. Yeah, everything centers around him. After they've done away with Leroy, and you can watch this in Pulp Fiction as a companion piece, by the way, 1 and 2.
I don't think you can. I really don't think you can.
You can, and there's more links later. We'll get to them.
Oh my God, dude.
Daddy and Mum are now dancing around his dead body at the bottom of the stairs, and Fool is trying to find a better hiding place when he's led into the vents by a hand opening one of them. As he goes through, Alice opens another vent, showing Fool the way. Daddy can't get into the vents, but lets off a few shots and threatens sending the dog in, thinking that it's the thing that Alice fed earlier. Because he's got no idea that Fool is in the house. He doesn't know. No one knows Fool is there at the moment. Fool is safe in the bathroom with Alice, and he introduces himself. This is where we realise just how isolated Alice is. She's never seen someone who's black, and she has no idea what a neighbourhood is. And I
love this. I love this interaction. She's like, "What? You've never seen a brother before?" I was like,
"Yeah."
Yeah, and she's like, I've had brothers before. And I'm like,
yeah. She's, I have to say as well, she's genuinely fantastic in this movie.
Yeah.
The actress that plays her, she's just, she just plays this unknowing sort of victim and everything really, really well, that every question that's asked to her or of her, she just plays it perfectly. Especially that scene that you're talking about now. It's just, when she clearly just doesn't understand. And there's a lot of different ways they could have played that. And she played it in the, that realistic sense of her, you could see the cogs going in her brain. Like, I don't really know what you're talking about.
Especially when he said the neighborhood and pointed outside, and she kind of looked out the window to say, the stuff outside, is there?
Yeah.
That was really heartbreaking, wasn't it?
Yeah. You immediately feel like this poor kid.
Yeah.
She looks really recognisable to me as well, but I can't think what I've seen her in outside of this.
Well, I thought it's really weird because I genuinely think the same thing as well. Because first of all, I was just like, oh, isn't that Amisha Barton? But then I was just like, hang on, no, because this is like the 90s and I'm thinking of her in The Sixth Sense. And then I was just like, hang on, she looks like a really young Marty McFly's mum. And then I was just like, no, because this is the 90s and Marty McFly's mum was even older than her in the 80s. So it makes no sense. So basically my brain stopped working and I can't really think of anything that she's been in.
I've just Googled it now and yeah, she's not really in anything. Escape from LA, which was like 5 years after this, but I don't recognise her from that. She's been in a few sitcoms and stuff, but nothing notable. So yeah, no, she's very unknown, but she just has that face, I think, where she looks instantly recognisable.
And she is very good. Very, very good. She tells Fool that no one has ever got out of the house and explains this is where Mummy and Daddy have looked for a long time for the perfect boy child, but they've all turned out bad. And this is where Mummy and Daddy cut the bad parts out of them and put them in the basement. These are obviously the people Fool saw earlier. She does add that they get flashlights and food, so it's kind of okay. And Fool looks at her like, fuck off. And then Fool's like, well, I'm getting out of this house. I'm telling you now, there is no way I'm getting stuck in this house with these crazy people. She's like, don't say that. Don't say that. You don't see, hear evil or speak evil or any evil. And she shed a single tear. It's like, oh, come on. It's not this. You poor girl. You've been so tormented. Screaming fills the air. And this is where Alice explains that Roach has got into the walls out of the basement and Daddy's been trying to find him, but he can't. Before we talk about what we're going to talk about next, Quentin Tarantino must have fucking loved this movie. I absolutely loved it with a passion because he stole a character and made it a pivotal point of Pulp Fiction.
Yeah.
Like I said earlier, this is a spiritual prequel. Daddy is searching the house. BP, do you want to take us through his outfit? What's he wearing?
I mean, it's not something, most people would probably think that he would come out in. But yeah, he's wearing basically a studded, spiky gimp suit.
Yeah.
Bit like, I don't really know how else to put it, but yeah, it's just, a gimp suit. Like he's like a Cenobite wannabe.
He's head to toe in black, shiny leather, branding a shotgun with a zip across his mouth.
I never expect it, even though I've seen it. Still to this day, I'm like, I completely forgot.
Weird, man. It's so strange, and I'm like, why of all things to wear? Why is he wearing this?
Well, it obviously does it for him. It's his
he gets his rocks off.
Yeah, he gets his rocks off in that suit. In his gimp suit, his sweaty gimp suit, he then starts pumping holes in the walls with a shotgun and getting closer to the bathroom where Fool is hiding. This scene is mental. I lost my shit when I first saw this. When I first saw him pop out of the room with a shotgun and a gimp mask, I had to pause it because I was dying. I was like, oh my God, what on earth is going on? And we get a quick cut scene downstairs where the hand of Spencer is being fed to the dog to try and revive the dog from his electric shock. Wes Craven, I'm going to say it, was indulging in some serious hardcore drink or drugs in 1991.
Yeah.
Has he got a drink or drug problem? Do we know that?
I don't think he did, but I'm saying for this movie, he dabbled.
I think he was having. I think he had problems with dreams.
Yeah. Anyway, this is where the police randomly turn up, and Mum tells Daddy to knock it off. Fool is banging like shit on the window to try and get their attention, and they can't hear him. Mummy and Daddy blag the cops away. And this is a bit of social commentary that I don't think Wes Craven intended on, but he got it anyway, where they are a white couple living in not the nicest of neighborhoods. And there's a van parked in their driveway that they've blocked in, that the police know was involved in a robbery. And they go, oh, yeah, it was just here when we got home. We haven't called you, though. We saw the people run off there. And the police are like, oh, okay, no worries. They don't search the van. They don't ask any questions. They go, just make sure you keep your doors locked and leave the fucking van blocked in on their driveway and just leave.
Yeah, bad. Do you think this was a self-aware commentary at the time, or?
I don't know if it was deliberate or unintentional, but it's definitely a commentary on a racial divide in how police view things. Definitely.
Yeah.
This is where they spot the scout outfit in the back of the trunk, and Mum's like, there's someone else in the house. Why this is all going on, Fool's trying to find a way to get out, but he's being chased by the dog. I love the fact that Fool gets himself back in the bathroom, and just before he gets in the bathroom, he uppercuts the dog.
Gives him a right old uppercut, yeah.
Gives him a right wallop as well.
A proper uppercut to the chin, and the dog sort of like stops for a second just for Fool to close the door. I was like, wow, he just punched the dog in the face. And I've got to say, I hope the dog wasn't hurt in any parts in this movie, but there are some parts in this, like when it's coming through vents and Fool's pushing the vent back on the dog. I'm going, that dog really looks like it's struggling to get through that vent.
Yeah.
That really
doesn't. Assume that these are puppets, surely.
No, it's the real dog.
Oh, that's...
Yeah,
then,
so I don't know. I hope the dog wasn't hurt, but they are at times a bit rough with this poor dog.
I mean, for anybody who hasn't seen this movie and is, like many of us, doesn't like violence towards dogs and, anything happening, a lot of shit happens to a dog in this film.
Yeah.
So bear that in mind when it comes to watching it, because, you do tend to sit there getting a bit angry at these things. Like, why the fucking dog just do it to a person?
Yeah, exactly.
I know, but the thing is, the dog is savage as fuck, though, isn't it? Let's be honest.
Yeah.
This is a very savage dog. I know when we're thinking about it, oh, yeah, but that's just a properly nice dog in real life. That's kind of not the point.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and I think put us all in the same position with that big dog chasing us. We'd be booting that vent back at it too, going, no, I don't want to be bitten, thank you.
I wouldn't be like, oh, you little cutie, please eat my arm.
The dog gives away Fool's position, and Daddy shoots a great massive hole in the door and pokes his head through. And this is where Fool smashes a vase over his head. As Daddy gets in, Fool is dragged away into the wall through a medicine cabinet by a character called Roach. I love Roach.
Yeah, Roaches are excellent. I love the guy who plays Roach as well.
Yeah, he's got the craziest face you'll ever see.
Yeah. He's such a... He doesn't say anything because he's had his tongue cut out, but he's such an expressional actor that...
Yeah, you don't need it.
You don't need it. You know what he's saying and you know what he's thinking. He's brilliant actor. Very, very well done. Roach leads Fool to safety through the walls, where there's other Home Alone style traps. So the dog gets in and like Roach pushes a button and like it drops like a slide and the dog ends up like sliding out in the living room in the fireplace. It's like brilliant.
Yeah, but why? Why and how is that there?
I'm guessing this is something that Roach has set up since he's been in the walls to keep the dog away from him.
Yeah, I mean, what we didn't know that Roach actually was working on home development programs before this film happened, and then that's how it happens. Is that
I don't know, man. I mean, judging by this slide, I think Roach worked for fucking NASA.
Yeah, he probably did. Yeah.
To steal one of your lines, Mark, a film's got a film. Leave it alone. They end up in Alice's room, and this is where we get proper introductions and find out Daddy cut out Roach's tongue because Roach talked back. We also get a look at Alice's creepy doll collection. So she makes a doll for every victim that Daddy and Mummy take. There are a lot of dolls. She says why. It's to keep their souls safe.
And she also does it well quick as well, because like one of them absolutely pops it, don't they? And then he's just like, I think it's the guy who gets his hair turned white or whatever, and then she's already made one of him. I'm like, she's good at her job.
Color-coordinated outfit and everything. Like, she must have a wardrobe of accessories for these dolls.
Yeah.
And there's a bit where the mum has a fucking moan that all she does is make dolls, but they must give her that fabric and shit. She's not like nipped to the shop and got it herself.
Yeah, she's not allowed.
Yeah. She literally has nothing in her bedroom apart from a desk and a bed.
Yeah, and a boatload of fabric hidden under her bed that she makes dolls at rapid pace with. Maybe she's got an Etsy store.
I would buy her stuff. It's pretty impressive.
Daddy and Mummy get in the room and Roach escapes through the walls. They force Alice to clean up the blood from where they've killed Leroy. This scene is rough. Rough.
Only because when I was watching it, I was like, you were not going to clean up that level of blood with that little sponge.
No, and they throw her into it. A fool is tied up in the basement, and he sees like Daddy starts feeding the people under the stairs, and he's feeding them body parts of Leroy, and he takes a big chunk and like eats a bit raw as well.
Yeah, that's fucking weird, isn't it?
It really, and this is when I realised that at the beginning you see Daddy eating a rack of ribs. And this is when it dawned on me that rack of ribs was a fucking human rack of ribs.
Yeah. These are cannibals.
He's cannibal. After Alice has cleaned up this blood in her white dress, her mum rips her to pieces, screaming at her that she's got blood all over her dress, and throws her in a scalding hot bath.
Yeah, and this was one of the scenes that I was talking about earlier, where they're so brutal and so graphic with the stuff that they do. And the actress who plays Mum in this is where she showcases her abilities as an actress, because this is a harrowing scene where she throws her in the scalding bath and Alice is screaming for dear life and the mother is absolutely savage with her.
Yeah.
Absolutely savage. And you're like, oh, this is unbearable. I can't watch this.
Yeah. And this is where you can, at the end of this scene, you see Fool thrown into the people under the stairs and Alice thrown back in her room. This whole 10-minute set piece is the most horrific part of the film, and it's fucking awful. And
when they throw Alice in the room, you can see like they've obviously put some sort of colouring on her skin to make it look like she's red. The same way where you've been sat in a hot bath for 10 minutes and then you come out and your skin's bright red.
Yeah.
And she looked like a tomato.
Yeah, it's really rough. I mean, you've got Fool now stumbling around the basement and all these people from under the stairs who, I don't know, they're kind of like pasty. Tell you what they look like. They look like the Lost Boys before the Lost Boys were the Lost Boys.
They look a bit
like
sentences.
I know what you mean.
Yeah,
they look a bit like the zombies in Thriller.
Yes, yeah, very much so.
Just less dancing.
Less dancing and more.
Yeah.
Roach saves Fool from the basement, taking him up through the boiler. Roach hands Fool some coins, and this is where we realise that Roach actually got shot when he got out of the room. And all he's saying is Alice. He writes Alice in the dust in the boiler.
Yeah.
Because he wants Fool to go and save Alice, because he obviously it's effectively his sister, and he wants fucking someone to save his sister from the horrible assholes they live with.
I'm always shocked by it as well, by Roach actually dying. I thought he was going to be the one that, would get out at the end.
Same
I always
with
remember
Bing Reams as well at the beginning. I thought both of those characters just was untimely killed off. I thought they would go on to have much bigger story arcs than they did.
Yeah, and it's. I think that's another Wes Craven trope. Wes Craven's not afraid of killing someone off.
No.
He won't think twice again. Oh, that's your main character. Oh, you really like them. They're dead.
Yeah.
He done it to his biggest final girl in A Nightmare on Elm Street. Killed Nancy in 3 without a fucking hesitation.
No.
Did he direct 3?
No, he didn't direct 3.
Did he write 3?
He was involved in 3, but I can't remember how. We discussed it on the show, didn't we?
Yeah, I think it was something to do with him writing it, wasn't it? And then, but then he wanted to take it in a direction that they didn't want, and then that's when he pulled out of actually directing it, I think.
Yeah, so he wanted to take it in the direction of New Nightmare, and then when they fucked up the franchise and they called him back, he went, right, can I make the movie I wanted to make 10 years ago now. They went, of course you can, Wes.
Yeah.
Fool is being hounded by the dog as he's trying to make his way to Alice. And he gets into Alice's room. This is where she's being attacked by Daddy. I fucking hate this guy so much.
Yeah.
So much. Fool, give him his due, bursts straight through the air vent, punching Daddy in the balls and breaks another vase over his head.
He gives him a right old cock shot, doesn't he?
Yeah, and when he done it, I was like, fucking yes.
Yeah. We don't get enough of them in movies. We don't get enough cock shots in movies, I don't think. Cock shots
the
and
best
uppercuts.
one being Mortal Kombat.
Yeah. Or anything with Jean-Claude Van Damme. He's doing cock shots and uppercuts left, right, and centre.
Yes, split punch. They escape into the walls, avoiding the dog and booby traps. And you've got Daddy screaming through the walls. And they're being attacked by the dog again. Now, Daddy, all of a sudden, has got a bayonet on the end of his shotgun that he didn't have earlier. And he's stabbing it into the walls. And I'm not going to lie, this scene's horrible. I didn't like this. They grab the dog and they push the dog against the wall. Daddy stabs the dog, thinks he stabbed Fool, and the dog dies. It's sad.
Yeah. Don't kill dogs. That's all I say.
It's a savage dog. What's with the attachment? This dog is a killer.
It is, but it's not the dog's fault. There's no such thing as a bad dog. There's only bad owners.
Yeah. In real life, yes, but
this
is a film. You're not supposed to. These people are actors. This dog is a dog actor. Let it go.
I think it's just in movies, you just can't differentiate it. You know what I mean? Like with humans, you can sort of differentiate, but with dogs, their sole purpose on Earth is just to make people happy. And no matter if you've got a massive one that's trying to maul your fucking face off, you still don't want them to die.
Well, this dog's sole purpose was taking a nice fat paycheck home to its owners.
This is very true.
Very true.
Daddy thought he's got Fool, but his mum is not convinced, and he breaks open the wall. And this is when he realises he's fucked up. And he ends up chasing them up into the attic. Fool's trying to get Alice to jump out the window. And I understand Alice going, no. One, I've never been outside. And two, I know that jumping off a roof's not a good idea. Daddy busts in and Fool kind of goes out the window through, I'm not fucking around with you anymore, Alice. You stay here. And he lands in the pond in the back garden that he was sat by at the very beginning of the movie. When I first watched it, I wasn't sure where it was going to go from here. I kind of thought this might be it because I can't see Fool ever wanting to go back. I'm 100% on board with the decisions the writers made after this.
Yeah.
I'm not.
Are you not?
No, stupid.
Well, you're not allowed to take part in this next bit of the conversation.
I just don't get it, right? I don't get it. I don't get where the thinking process is with the next part of this film. Like, I would have quite happily liked to have seen Dad just go balls to the wall crazy and go in and just kill everybody and then kill himself. And then that'd be the end and Fool escapes into the night.
Yeah.
His return makes no fucking sense whatsoever.
It does. He promised Alice. It makes perfect sense. We'll
He
go.
is 6 years old. This kid needs to go to bed and read a book. What is he doing taking on the fucking serial killers of the Midwest?
He does well, though. Fool goes home and has the coins valued by his grandfather, who says they're worth a huge amount of money. If anyone's interested, these coins are actually real coins. They're not real coins, but they're replicas of real coins. These real coins in 1991, when this come out, would have been worth about 50 grand a piece.
Blimey.
Nice.
So they're worth a fortune. Fool decides to go and call the police, and he calls in a child abuse case because he knows the police would have to respond to that. Now, this is one issue I've got. So the police go to the house and they have a good search, and they're being given tea and biscuits by Mummy and Daddy. 20 minutes ago, Daddy was blowing great big fucking holes in the walls with a shotgun that have now all magically vanished and are nicely clean and painted.
Yeah, silly. It makes no sense.
This bit didn't make sense. The police find nothing. And the parents think they've done a great job.
Although I do love the bit quickly where the cop is like looking the opposite way and he lifts his hat really quickly and then wipes his head like of the blood and then he puts his hat back on.
Yes.
And you're like, it's a cool little bit of, filmmaking. Like, Wes Craven obviously knows what the fuck he's doing, but it was just a cool little bit of filmmaking where, obviously the cop didn't see it, but.
Yeah, and I like the bit where they go into Alice's bedroom and they're like, I thought you said you didn't have any kids. They're like, oh, well, we did, but she died. It's very sad. We've never touched the room. And it's at that point the police go, right, that's it. That's enough. Let's fucking wrap everything up. Time to leave.
Yeah, that was very clever. Very clever bit of writing in that scene, I think.
Yeah, very, very clever. But the whole thing's a big distraction because Fool knew that it was not going to work. And Fool's just used it as a way to get back in the house.
Why would he go back into this house? I don't get why he would go back here.
Because he's just a fucking badass, that's why.
He is. He goes up the stairs and he hears Daddy and Mummy talking, goes in the room, and it's a recording because Daddy and Mummy have realised he's coming, and Gimp Daddy attacks. Fool goes just full on 2 thumbs in the eyes.
Yeah.
To get him off. I liked it a lot. And then Fool goes full-on gangster, beating the shit out of him with a fireplace poker and snapping it over Daddy's head.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he hit him with some force to be able to snap this iron poker.
Yeah. It's an outtake that's left in. We'll talk about it in facts.
Oh, cool.
Fool makes a run for it, and they think he's escaped again, but he didn't. It's another trick, and he's now in the walls. And he's in the basement to save Alice. Daddy pops in briefly and does the most disgusting fucking thing ever. So Alice is chained in the basement and falls in the wall trying to save her. And Daddy walks sort of up to her, and Alice asks if she can let go. And Daddy rubs his crotch and goes, ugh. And I was like, oh, you fucking disgusting, vile bastard.
Horrible.
I hated it. And this is where it gets even weirder that Mum comes in and goes, Daddy. And at this point, you're like, she's not doing that to protect Alice. It's more of a case of you don't have sex with her, you have sex with me, your sister.
Yeah.
Have they identified that they're brother and sister at this point?
They haven't done yet, but we know they are. It's fucking weird.
I didn't know they were. It was weird enough without having that bit of information thrown in at the end.
Yeah, it's very weird. Fool gets Alice out of her chains. Alice was in chains before, also a band. Very good band. And he tells her that they're not her parents and that she's an abducted child. This is where we also find out that Daddy has rigged the entire house like a giant fucking bomb.
Why?
Just a fucking mental, innit?
Yeah, he's just
he's fucking
mental, isn't he?
He's just fucking mental.
But I'm not being funny. What other explanation is there? He's put bombs on all the fucking doors and windows.
He just wants the fucking world to burn.
He is. Alice and Fool get to the roof, and I love this Home Alone scene. So they start making noise. And Daddy puts his head like in the chimney and looks up, and Fool just drops a house brick straight on his face, which would kill him.
Yeah, it immediately would smash his skull to pieces, and it's just that slapstick element that just felt so out of place for me, and it's just thrown in so willy-nilly throughout this film. Like, you'll have those moments earlier on where she's in the bath getting scolded, and then it'll immediately switch to a scene that's like this, but nowhere near as exaggerated as this particular scene with the chimney. It is as about Home Alone as a Home Alone can get. But there's subtleties throughout where it just has that weird juxtaposition between horrifying and then immediate dark humor that just it's so mixed matched. It just didn't work, I don't think.
The thing is, Daddy doesn't get it as bad as Mum, because Mum sticks her head in the chimney next, and she gets Alice and Fool come down 2-footed first and take her through to the fucking basement, or they blast straight through her into the basement. Daddy heads down there with his shotgun. it's just this next. I don't know how to best go through this next bit because this next sort of closing minutes is fucking insane. So Daddy heads down to the basement where his shotgun has fallen because Fool's knocked it down. Fool's holding the gun. If Fool had pulled the trigger on this, he would have gone fucking flying.
Yeah.
I really wanted him to pull the trigger and us have like an X moment where he just went, whee, like the old lady did. Daddy knocks him down the stairs. And it's at this time the front door goes. And it's Ruby, Fool's sister from the beginning. The mum answers and she basically says, I represent the Tenants Association. And the mum's like, I don't give a shit. And then the whole neighbourhood shows up. Everyone.
Oh, no, there was a line, wasn't there, where she was about to call her the N-word.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, and then all of a sudden the whole entire ghetto just turns up. And I say the word ghetto because it is referred to as the ghetto. I'm not typecasting here. They all come and
it's the whole community.
And the way it was timed and the way it was written was just flawless in this moment. I thought it was so well done.
Yeah, and this is the bit where I thought there was going to be a fight between Ruby and the mum, but there's not, because instead we get Spider Alice fucking drops through the ceiling, lands on her mum, and smashes her face off the floor repeatedly.
It's like Samara from The Ring, the way she just creeps up on her off the ceiling.
Yeah. Fool is hiding, and he's hiding in with the people under the stairs to get away from Daddy. And they make some sort of deal, I think, that they're kind of not really talking, but they are talking. And then all of a sudden, the people under the stairs just go for it.
Yeah, they're fucking gone now. That's it.
They've had enough.
This is my fucking time.
They burst through the stairs, biting Mum, who was trying to kill Alice again. After locking down the house again, she goes into the kitchen where Alice stabs her before she's surrounded by all the people from under the stairs who attack her and throw her lifeless body into the basement where Daddy is. I love the fact they killed the mum. She deserved it. Daddy's death took far too long to come for me.
Yeah.
I wanted
his whole
him
closing act took far too long to come for me.
I just wanted him to die. So in the basement, a Fool is now with all the golden treasure, and Daddy finds him. Fool is holding 2 wires, which are the bombs, and he's like, "You fuck with me, and I'm going to blow it all up." And Daddy's like, I'm not dropping the gun. And I give Fool his due. He's like, I am not fucking around. Drop the gun, or I'm going to do it. And the dad's like, yeah, okay. And 2 seconds later, the whole fucking house is blown up. Because Fool's like, well, you didn't do it. Bang. Daddy dies, but Fool doesn't, which I found a bit weird. The whole house gets blown up, and it sends like this plume of money.
Yeah, it's raining money.
At the end of Richie Rich, there's just cash everywhere.
I likened it to like the Crystal Maze.
Oh, yeah.
The end of the Crystal Maze, and everyone's out there grabbing money.
You imagine Richard O'Brien just there being like, I'll fucking get some.
Only the gold tokens. Only the gold tokens.
Only the gold ones, yeah.
The people under the stairs have now escaped the house as well, and they're outside, and they're just wandering off into the wilderness. Fool and Alice are sat there. 90s hip hop fills our ears, and everyone lives happily ever after.
Roll credits. Fuck this film.
Well, but everyone lives happily ever after, apart from BP, who you all decided would be playing horror, not horror.
Wait, Master. It might be dangerous.
This is not a test. This is your emergency broadcast system.
Hello? Hello? Anybody home? Hey, think with fly.
Do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth?
Oh shit, dude, I found a dildo!
The price is wrong, bitch.
The question is it horror? Or is it not horror?
I am serious. And don't call me Shirley.
I am not Mr. Lebowski.
He slimed me.
For anyone who's not familiar with horror, not horror, it's super simple. Me and Mark are going to take turns reading a movie quote, and all BP has to do is tell us if it's a horror movie or not a horror movie. We're starting a new leaderboard for 2023. So all of our quizzes have got 15 questions, and it's 10 points per question. So regardless of what quiz you do, you're going to get between 10 or 150 points. So you're going to end up on the leaderboards. Everyone's going to have a shared leaderboard this season. So whatever you do, BP, you are going to be top of the leaderboard for at least until we have the next guest.
And then your first guest of 2023 at the end of it is going to be at the bottom of that list.
No, I think you're underplaying it. I genuinely do.
We'll see.
Mark, do you want to take the first quote, or do you want me to take the first quote?
I'll let you decide, BP. Would you like me to go first, or would you like Scott to go first?
Oh, either way, I'm going to fuck it up. So either or. Mark, go on, give it a go.
I'll go first then. So our first quote is, "We're going to be rich. Feel how hard my cock is." Is that horror or not horror?
We're going to go with horror.
That is correct. Well done. Can you tell me which horror film that is from?
Do you know what? It's the exact conversation I just had with Scott. I can, but I fucking can't. In 2 hours, I'll be able to tell you. But I cannot. I cannot. On the spot, I can't. In my head, I've got it, but I just don't know.
Now we're on a new run with quizzes. Are we giving extra points for correcting the title as well?
No,
so it's just a point for horror.
Yeah,
not horror.
just point for horror.
So sorry, you don't need to get the title. It was just more out of curiosity.
So you've got 10 points.
Take a shot. You've got it.
Not Texas Chainsaw, is it? No.
Not a bad guess.
Do you know what? I don't know. All I keep on thinking, all I've got is fucking the Goonies in my head, and that ain't no horror.
No, that was horror, and that is from X from 2022.
Fucking hell. I'm going to hate myself after all these.
No, you're doing well. You got 10 points. You're off to a flying start. Number 2. Close your mouth, please, Michael. We are not a codfish.
God. I'm just going to laugh at all these. I'm going to go with horror.
No, that one's not horror. That was from Mary Poppins, 1964.
Mary Poppins, Jesus Christ.
Question number 3. Yeah, and maybe the president will make me Secretary of Pussy.
No, it's not horror.
Oh, that was horror. That was from People Under the Stairs from 1991.
Oh, fucking hell. We're talking about it now. That's it. I told you I fucked this up. I feel so sorry for anybody that listens to my show. I'm a fucking fraud.
No, yeah, mate, don't worry. I've played this game countless times and my mind goes blank every time.
Number 4. What's wrong, Joey? Feeling tongue-tied?
Oh, that's horror. I'm sure that's horror, isn't it?
It is horror, yeah.
Is it not our Nightmare on Elm Street or it is Nightmare on Elm Street, isn't it?
It's Dream Warriors.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah,
that's 20 points.
I fucking got one.
Yeah, so you
got 2.
You got 2 now.
You're doing all right.
Here we go.
Question number 5. You play a good game, boy, but the game has finished. Now you die.
We're going to go with not a horror.
Oh, no, unfortunately, that was a horror. That was from Phantasm from 1979.
Fucking hell.
Number 6. Let off some steam, Bennett.
Oh, that's Commando.
Yay!
I was going to be so angry if you got that wrong. I don't think anybody could get that question wrong.
I can quote anything for Commando.
So that's you're on 30 points in total now, so you're doing all right.
Question number 7. Tower, this is Ghost Rider requesting flyby.
That is not.
That's correct. It is not horror. Can you tell me what it's from?
Top Gun.
It is. Well done. That is from Top Gun. That gives you a total of 40 points.
40 points, yeah. Number 8. I am with you now, Jake. We are mated for life.
That is a horror.
That's not a horror. That was from Avatar.
Oh, well, Avatar's a piece of shit. I won't know that.
I concur. It's Pocahontas with blue people.
I was literally about to say it's basically Pocahontas and the Smurfs put together with a fucking bigger orgy.
Question number 9. I'm so glad this one came to me. Louisa, the donkeys are out again.
Not a horror.
It's not a horror. Well done. Can you tell what it's from?
I don't know. Seabiscuit. I don't know.
No, that is from Encanto.
So you're now on 50 points.
50 points. That's right.
50 points. You're doing well. Number 10. Come here, damn you! I want to touch you.
Oh, God.
Scott pretty much voice acted that the way it plays out in the film as well.
Not a horror.
That is a horror. That's from Hellraiser.
Oh, fucking hell. They're all about touching those Cenobites as well.
They
I should
are.
have known that.
They love a good touching, the Cenobites.
They do.
It's all Julia's touchy-feelies moments. Question number 11. Well, a boy's best friend is his mother. His mother is his mother.
That's a horror. That's Psycho.
That is correct. Well done. That is 60 points.
Number 12. These arrows cut through bone like a fat kid eats cake.
We go with a horror.
It is. Do you want to take a guess on what it is?
No, just tell me. Yeah. I'll be here all fucking night.
It was Mandy from 2018.
Of course it is. Yeah, I know the exact scene in my head. I hate my life. I hate myself.
No, you're doing well. You've got 70 points. You're doing well.
Doing very well. Question number 13. Honestly, at this exact second, I thought you were a Build-A-Bear.
Horror.
Unfortunately not. No, that is not horror. That is Avengers Endgame 2019.
I don't watch any Marvel crap, so...
Okay.
Careful. I like Marvel a little bit.
Sorry to everyone.
No. I don't like it enough to get that defensive about it, but I think it's all right.
Question number 14. He's not trapped in there with them. They're trapped in there with him.
So that... Oh, fuck. So this is a tough one for me because I know it. I'm going to go with not a horror.
Oh, it was a horror. It's Willy's Wonderland.
Yes, it is. Yeah. Oh, fuck's sake. For some reason, see, now I'm thinking about Commando. I've got nothing but Schwarzenegger in my mind. So now I'm just thinking of different things. Yeah, exactly. So now I'm just thinking of, different ways he's going to be like, oh!
Question number 15. Just because a man's lying down doesn't mean he's dead.
Not a horror.
Oh, dude, he's a horror. That is also People Under the Stairs.
Oh, I've had a fucking hell.
You've done well. You've scored 70 points.
I got it right. I was fucking right.
Which is a respectable score, and if I'm honest, higher than most people score on our quizzes.
Oh, good. I haven't let people down too badly then.
No, you definitely haven't.
No, you should be very proud of that score.
Very, very good score. And top of the leaderboard so far.
And it won't stay that way.
It depends, because the listeners choose the quizzes. The next person on might get horror, not horror, and that is brutal. No one's beaten that yet.
Which means not horror, not horror.
No, not horror. Broken Spirit. If you get one question wrong on Broken Spirit, it's all over.
I feel like I have an impending quiz coming my way at some point, so I'm slightly on edge at the moment. I feel like I'm safe today because we have a guest, but next week I'm not so sure.
Yeah, Mark quizzed me when I had a cold, completely unprovoked, and I feel hurt. And I told you I felt bad about it. I pre-prepped it before knowing you were ill.
Yeah, I listened to it. It was a shallow move. But but this is what we've got to do when we make podcasts, right?
Yeah,
you take it where you can, don't you?
Yeah, I've got vengeful feelings, and they're coming very, very soon.
Well, all I can do is thank everyone for giving me one that's not too bad, because if they've listened to the show, they know how fucking dumb I am.
No, you've done well. Really, really good score. Anyway, that's enough of tormenting BP and our guests. Let's do some 3-word reviews.
Zoinks! 3-word reviews, man!
So we've got Kalita Salvage Horror, a major favourite, and they are a super cool horror account. Go and give them a follow. Skellington Fan, who I don't need to introduce Skellington Fan if you listen to this show.
Legend.
Absolute legend, does super awesome edits. I can't say enough of good things about Skelly. She went with I Love Roach. I think we all agree with that. Zeeblebrox, which one half of Spaceman and the Doll podcast. That's Zaphod. That's his own personal account. Gimp with a Shotgun.
The sequel to Hobo with a Shotgun.
Yeah, exactly that. Girl for All Seasons 22, worth a watch. And she's a horror, and get this, a horror and Baby Yoda account.
Is it Baby Yoda? Because I feel like that's like
it's not. It's Baby Grogu, I think.
Grogu,
yeah.
Yeah.
Or the child, as he's quite often referred to in the series. And then finally we've got Macabre Matty. He's another good horror account. He's gone with Goddamn Treasure.
Yeah, there's a lot of cash down in that basement, by the way.
There's a huge amount of cash in that basement.
I didn't think, I lost all interest in the film when I saw this. I was like, maybe I could have a bag of that.
It's like Pirates of the Caribbean.
Very much so. Facts and fuck-ups.
Hey, Scoob, it's time for facts, bro.
Fire pokers are metal, as I'm sure you're all aware, and Mark pointed out, because Fool snapped one over Daddy's head. The prop one was wooden, and it wasn't meant to snap, but the actor hit Daddy so hard with it, it did snap. If you watch, he pauses and the corners of his mouth start to go up. He carried on because apparently behind the other side of the camera, Wes Craven was making lots of fucking noise not to break character because the shot looked amazing.
And he probably, he was probably in the moment at that time. He gets his rocks off quite easily, that bloke, wearing a gimp suit. He probably got hit a bit too hard and felt it and was like, oh, I like
that. The role of Roach was never decided whether it was going to be male or female when they were casting for it. Hilary Swank auditioned for the role of Roach.
Oh, that would have been awesome.
Yeah, she's a fucking badass.
Yeah, could you imagine Hilary Swank as Roach? That'd be awesome. This is a movie that Wes Craven wanted to remake himself. He wanted to update it for a more modern audience. It was his next planned project before his death, and he'd even agreed terms on making this into a 3-season series.
Ah.
So
what a shame, eh? What a shame.
He had lots of things that he felt he wanted to flesh out that he couldn't flesh out in the movie, and he felt being given 3 seasons, he'd be able to flesh everything out and go a lot further into their back plots. And I think this would have worked well as a series.
Yeah, I agree.
It is looking like it's going to get a remake as potentially as a series or a movie. It's not been decided yet. It looks like they have Jordan Peele at the helm.
Fuck that dude, man. Why? Is he
I was just
involved?
about to say the absolute opposite to you, so I'll shut up.
No, BP, please. I enjoyed your company this evening. Don't do that to me.
I just fucking love the guy. I want to marry him so much.
I think for this, I think Jordan Peele would probably be the right person because of the story that this tells. I think he is this story fits the narrative that he tells better than anybody else. I think.
Well, Jordan Peele is a massive, massive fan of horror, and his biggest influences on everything that he continues to do, a lot of that is fed through Spielberg, Carpenter, Craven, and he quotes it all the time. So, all of these films he's watched, he loves. So you can see that in the work that he does, whether you like it or not.
I'm not the biggest Peele fan, but there is stuff that he has done that I think is outstanding. There's lots of dubbing issues in this. You'll see lots of times where there's speaking with no voice moving. All of this, every single bit that made the final cut was spotted by Wes Craven. And Wes Craven's words were, no one will care. And he was right, because this movie made, what was it? It was $31 million off of a $6 million budget.
So it made some bank back.
If you put it into modern day money, into allowing for inflation, that's about a $19.5 million budget, grossing $112 million.
That's pretty impressive.
It's very impressive.
Did well.
When Fools laid down at the end of the at the stairs at the end of the movie, in his fight with Daddy, there's a costume change. You know when he gets pushed down the stairs right at the end?
Yeah, when the NASA staircase changes into a slide again.
Yeah, changes into a slide. When he's at the top of the stairs, he has a costume change. So he's wearing a costume on the stairs. When he's falling down the stairs, he's wearing a completely different costume. And when he's at the bottom of the stairs, he's back in the original costume he was in at the top. And that's because they didn't have the same costume for the stunt double.
And also, he changed from a kid to about 40-year-old bloke. So
yeah, he did. He also
I didn't notice that at all.
Oh, you wait. You go back and watch it, and you're like, oh yeah, that's a stunt man.
No offense, BP, mate, but I'm not going back and watching this.
Got better things to do.
Yeah, much better things to do.
Speaking of changing shirts, we have loads of new T-shirt designs on yourunpodcast.com. Just saying, go and buy some. Every little helps.
Buy some.
Yeah, go buy anything. Buy a mug. I don't care what you buy. Buy something. All of the money that we get from that goes back into the show. And if I'm honest, if you can't afford to do that, I get it. Fucking gas, electricity, water, everything we have costs 30 times more than it did 2 months ago. So do something that's free. Review us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. It's really simple. Just do that instead. In for some scores. This movie is dark and it's dressed up as something that's quite innocent. If you were to look at the cover for this or see even the trailer for this, you'd go, oh, that's going to be like a PG style family-ish horror. But it's not. It's so dark and nasty in places. If you went to the cinema to watch this when this come out, I imagine this would have been such a fucking shock to the system. It would not have been what you were expecting when you rocked up. It's the most 80s movie ever that's been released in the 90s.
Yeah.
Everything about this screams 80s apart from its release date. There's some stuff that doesn't go well and there's stuff that hasn't aged well, especially with dialogue. There's lots of things they say that you go, ooh, you can't really say that now. That's not right. I was only introduced to this last year. So this for me is something that I think I watched it as a kid, but I got reintroduced to it by Lisa. She said, oh, well, let's watch People Under the Stairs. And I kind of went, all right then. And I watched it.
I'm surprised by that. I just assumed you would have, this was something that you've always known.
No, it's something I think I'm sure I saw it a couple of times as a kid, but it didn't have a big impact on me. It didn't do anything that made me go, wow. And then I watched it last year and I was like, that was okay. Watching it back, it's okay. And it's kind of only okay. It's fun. It's wild. Bits of it are fucking hilarious and bits of it are super dark, but it doesn't quite mesh together for me properly. And for that, I think I'm going to score it a 6 out of 10. BP, where do you sit with this?
Yeah, I mean, I've watched this one quite a few times over the years. This was one of the films I always remember in my friends' sort of attic loft things, and we used to have our horror movie nights, and this is one of the ones I remember watching. And like I've said earlier as well, it just changes every time I watch it. It's another one for me that falls in the category of what if, because it feels there's so many different elements to this film. Like at 1 minute, it feels like for me something that could have been like a Texas Chainsaw Massacre sequel. It's, it's got the weird sort of characters, but then it's got like the old school feel of when Wes Craven was making, say, like Hills of Eyes and stuff. Like there's a lot of that elements. And then because obviously, this is where Wes Craven came from when he was making those sort of Hills of Eyes and Last House on the Left and all that sort of stuff, those dirty, really gritty, nasty horrors. And this film had a lot of elements, like you've all said, it had those elements of that pure dark undertones as well as the undertones. It was just nasty. But then cut to 2 seconds later and they're having a fucking laugh. So it just always falls in the category of, what if Wes Craven had just gone full nasty with it? And because more of that really happens in it, I wish that it fell on that side as well. And it also blows my mind more so that he made Scream 5 years later than this. So, and that's what blows my mind, is that the difference between this and Scream in every aspect blows my mind.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it just falls under the category of what if. So I give it, I will probably be with you as well. I will give it about a 6 because I think the opportunity is missed. And, it's quite big because I think, maybe it's a studio thing. I don't know, but they ended up, making these light-hearted moments that take you out of it. And you're like, well, choose your path. Which way are you going to go? Are you going to go fucking nasty? Or you're going to get some bloke in a gimp suit running around.
Yeah, and I don't think both work together, and I think you're right on that. Mark, how do you feel about this?
So this is the first time watch for me. I was very aware of People Under Stairs for a long period of time, and I've never really been drawn to it from what I knew of the film. I'm going to start with the positives and say that I think the acting is fantastic. I think Bing Reams is ace. I think the lady who plays Mother is fantastic. The young character who plays Fool is amazing, as well as the guy who plays Roach. I should really take note on what these actors are called before I do my roundup, but hey ho. I think they're all fantastic. Even the guy who plays Daddy is really, really good, apart from his over-the-top Jim Carrey stuff that he only falls into really briefly in one particular 5-minute scene. But everything else he does throughout that is great. He just has this weird moment in the corridor where he turns into the Grinch without makeup, and it's really jarring. I have issues with the tone. I feel like this couldn't make its mind up on what it wanted to be. Yeah. It got lost in translation. I feel like it was leaning heavily towards being something and then got reined in and then counteracted with some dark humor, which I'm not going to lie, the dark humor when done well was actually really done well and was quite funny, and I found myself laughing quite a lot. But the juxtaposition between the two, contrastingly, just didn't work well for me. It just felt very, very jarring overall. I don't know whether this is a sign of the times, but the whole thing collectively just felt like a product of its era.
Yeah.
And I don't feel like it was a film that Wes wanted to make. I just feel like he was influenced by cinema of that time and what the studio kind of expected him to make, whether that be with the casting, the setting, and the overall tone. I feel like they were pushing him in a direction to make something that he didn't necessarily want to make. But at the end of the day, studios pay, and you do as you're told in terms of sacrificing your art in order to get it out there, I think. And I think it speaks volumes for itself, the fact that Wes wanted to remake this and redo this within his own lifetime. I mean, it's very rare that you would find a director who would turn around and be like, for John Carpenter, for instance, would not turn around and say, I'm going to make Halloween 1978 again.
Yeah, no, you just wouldn't.
You just wouldn't, because that was his vision and that's what he wanted to do. And the fact that Wes turned around and said, my next project is going to be, I'm going to remake People Under the Stairs the way I wanted it to be, speaks volume for what this film is. There's certainly stuff in here that's worth watching and worth checking out. And as I said, I've only seen this once, but I could imagine on a second visit, knowing what I know now, I would probably appreciate certain aspects of it a lot more. And then if I watched it a third time and a fourth time and a fifth time, it's a film I could imagine growing to love.
Yeah.
But not for the right reasons. So based on my initial viewing and based on what I think of it, just primarily on the first watch, this is a 2 out of 5. And I think I'm being generous with that as well.
Brutal.
But the thing is as well, like I say that because I just expected more from it than what it was. And I could see the glaring flaws within it. But as somebody who loves bad horror films, this falls perfectly into that category.
Yeah.
But when you stamp Wes Craven's name on it, you just automatically expect more. So I think if I watch this again for a second time, knowing what I know now, my score would probably go up higher. And again, a third, a fourth, a fifth time, it would probably go up even higher still because I would learn to love it based on taking it for what it is. But overall, as a first initial watch, knowing that Wes Craven directed this and the cast that was involved in it, it was just massively disappointing and underwhelming. And I can't justify giving it any more than 2, unfortunately.
That's fair enough. If after Mark's scathing review, this movie sounds like your particular brand of insanity, you can rent it everywhere in the UK and in the US. I couldn't find it anywhere for free.
No,
but...
I paid for it on Amazon, and Amazon, I want my £3.50 back, please.
The new highlight of the show, the game that everyone seems to want to play now, Mark's anagram game. What was the answer to last week's anagram, Mark?
Last week's anagram was American Psycho. And the anagram, obviously, to get American Psycho was company cashier.
Which you wouldn't spell out for our dyslexic listeners because you're mean.
Yeah. Did we get responses?
Oh, we did get responses. Not as many, though, because there's people out there who are dyslexic who've gone, well, he didn't spell it, so I can't fucking play. You're nasty. Nasty man.
All right, I'll spell this one out. I'd had a few beers last week, and I was a bit grumpy by the end of the evening.
What is this week's anagram?
This week's anagram is Tanner's Knife. And for those of you who are dyslexic, please pick up a pen and paper as I'm about to spell it out for you. So this week's anagram is Tanner's Knife, and that is TANNERSKNIFE.
Okay. And as always, on our Instagram story, every day next week, every day this week, I'll have an option for you to reply with what the answer to the anagram is. We're going to put a leaderboard up this week as well, because we've got some clear winners now who have got 2 weeks in a row correct. And when we get to March, whoever's got the most points, whether it's 1 of you, 2 of you, or 4 of you, you're going to send you a free T-shirt. So it's worth playing. You're not just playing for your entertainment. You're playing for prizes.
You are playing for prizes. And I have one of those T-shirts. They're very nice.
Yes, you don't have one of the new ones, though. We've got new ones now.
What? I haven't even been updated with the merch. I feel the uniform should be supplied by the company. I should have a new and updated T-shirt.
A uniform allowance.
Uniform allowance. If one dose of us is not enough, you can check us out on Friday, where we've got horror movie news, which I actually know what we spoke about. We recorded it before we recorded this for a change, and we go to some strange places on news this week. You could be back with us next week, where we are going to be talking Friday the 13th, part 2. You can also go and check out BP's show. Current episode, I believe, is Hellraiser.
Correct, yeah, Hellraiser. And you can go and listen to me get a little bit drunk on that one.
Quite drunk on that one, I think, is the correct term.
Yeah, I'll never do that again. Not on a show. But yeah, I'm too old for hangovers now. You know that hangovers hit me, and for 2 days later, I had that tequila hangover. It wasn't nice, but anything for my listeners, eh? But it was a fun episode. Hellraiser's the one that's out now, and we've just recorded the episode for February, which is we're getting obviously romantic again, where it's all about My Bloody Valentine.
Oh, awesome!
Ooh, are you doing the original or are you doing the remake?
The original, yeah. My partner, who's in love with Jensen Ackles, wanted me to do the remake, but that's not going to happen, no.
Where can everyone find you, BP?
Everywhere. If you've got us on Instagram, all you've got to do is go on Instagram, click the link, and it will take you to our website, which is everywhere. But Apple Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts are the main ones, but it is literally everywhere. And then obviously we've got the YouTube channel, which, like everything we all do, is free. So please go and pop on the YouTube channel. I'm trying to do more for the YouTube channel, and I've got some really cool things lined up and some really exciting interviews with people that I didn't think was going to happen. So I'm properly excited about that.
Yeah, go and follow BP. It's Let's Talk Horror Channel. You'll find him really easy. You'll find his podcast really easy because it's on the same app. Whatever app you're listening to us on, guess what? It's on there. In that bit where you've got the search bar, if you type Let's Talk Horror Channel, BP's show pops up and you can listen to BP as well. BP, thank you so much for coming on and talking this crazy movie with us.
No, I appreciate it. Thank you so much for having me on the show. Obviously, I listen to your show, and I listen to so many other people's shows. So I love being a guest because, it's called Let's Talk Horror Channel, my show, because that is literally all I like doing. So if I get an opportunity to do it with absolute legends like yourself,
oh, thank you.
Then I will do it. And thank you so much for having me on.
Oh, you're more than welcome. I think that's the nicest compliment I've ever been paid, being called a legend.
Don't worry about it. You get used to it.
Either that or it's just a really polite way of saying that I'm old as fuck. Thank you so much, BP. Thank you, everyone, for listening. Make sure you go and subscribe to us, subscribe to BP. Do all the nice things that we all need you to do, and we will all catch you next time.
Cheers, guys. Thanks for listening. See you next week.
Before I forget, you want to die tonight?
The cheaper, nastier, the better for me.
Would you have stayed after this?
Sorry, man. I was completely off guard there.
He's in his coffin. He's the undead.
This was the best bit of the film.
This is not the last time someone's going to steal your man.
Yeah, Mark's not a nice guy.
Well, you didn't notice this scene. It looks like he's got an extra leg.
Yeah, I've got nothing. I've literally got nothing here. Surely that'd be even worse. The more listeners we have, the worse that's going to be.
Yeah, but I will just get a new phone.
Oh, I tell a lie, actually. Yeah, because we used to have teletext.
Art the Clown makes Michael Myers and Jason Voorhees look like pussies.
I can only assume that this was due to budgetary reasons and they couldn't afford enough extras.
Are you going to have Busta Rhymes in your list of characters?
Mate, I can't believe you don't know Idle Hands.
I'm going to ram my foot down his fucking throat. It was awesome.
It fucking wasn't awesome.